6:30. Everybody ready? At this time, I'd like to call the Administrative Services Committee meeting for Monday, December 4th, 2017. Please call the roll.
Councilor Corradino.
Here.
Councilor Van Buren.
Here.
Councilor Reynolds.
Here.
Councilor Walker. Here. Councilor Emmons.
Here.
I have a motion to approve the minutes of the November 20th, 2017 committee meeting.
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilor Corradino.
Yes.
Councilor Van Buren.
Yes.
Councilor Reynolds.
Yes.
Councilor Walker. Councilor Emmons.
Yes.
Under old business, is there any old business to discuss? Seeing none, moving right along to new business under authorization. Item number 1. The engineer's office requests that the mayor be authorized to accept the engineering design services proposal with GHD Consulting Engineers for combined sewer separation, third 25%, phase 3, EFC number C76344-19-08, and sign appropriate agreement in the amount of $324,800, as well as the inclusion of a $42,500 allowance for unforeseen conditions. And, Mr. Johnson, would you like to speak to this?
Yeah, there are 3 proposals in front of you tonight having to do with the consent decree. They are all 3 proposals from GHD. All right, now GHD has successfully, and I think they're very good at producing the first 2 phases of separation and rehab work. And so we asked them to put together proposals moving forward. Their projects turned out, this last phase was quite flawlessly compared to the first time around. And that has every bit to do with the contractor, you know, more than anything else. So the 3 phases here are the sewer separation, which goes from Utica Street over to Cayuga Street, and from 6th and 7th Street down the river. That project is it's a rehab and a separation, very similar to what we're just finished at in the 5th Ward. So it's a little bit different because the area is a very old part of the city. It's very complicated because it's very congested as well. The separation work is in that boundaries over to Cayuga Street, from Utica to Cayuga. The rehab work goes all the way to Lake Street. Okay, for that phase is additional rehab work, which is going to require a lot more work. So then there is an area 3, which didn't get on the agenda, but it's in the packet, I understand. And that area is for rehab only, and that is basically out by Trillium Gardens, Presidential Plaza, in that area. Most of those sewers are new PVC sewers within the last 25 years, so I expect that to be a smaller project for the rehab work. So the consent decree requires us to have shovel and ground for 2020. I feel that we need 2018 to do the exploratory work and 2019 to do the engineering work, and that's why we're moving it now. We need to have an engineer's report in to DEC and EPA by this time next year. So the project needs to move to stay on schedule. This particular resolution, there's $42,500 that's listed in there for work that we may have to do, And if it turns out that we need additional exploratory work, it would be done by change order prior to the work being done, because it's investigative by nature. So, you know, if we need additional test borings or something of that nature, we'll be back in front of council before that money is allocated. So the base project, $324,800, and that's a firm figure to do the drawing specifications and the investigative work.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
Ms.
At all?
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, Randy Cameron from GHD is here. If you have any technical questions, you can refer to Randy. And the next two resolutions, I think I've explained them to my best.
Yes, you did a very good job of taking care of 1, 2, and 3. Any questions for Randy or Mr. Johnson? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 2, the engineer's office requests that the mayor be authorized to accept the engineering design services proposal for GHD Consulting Engineers, Combined Sewer Rehabilitation, Sanitary Sewer Investigations, EFC number C76344-19-08, and sign appropriate agreement in the amount of $83,500. As Mr. Johnson just alluded to, he's basically already outlined what that was about. Any other concerns or questions from the council? Public? None? We have a motion? I see a question over there? Okay, that's what I got. Thank you.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
All right, there is what I'm calling 2A that was in our packet. The engineer's office requests that the mayor be authorized to accept the engineering design services proposal with GHD Consulting Engineers for sanitary sewer rehabilitation, Area 3 sewer investigations, EFC number C7-6344-19-09, sign appropriate agreement in the amount of $88,700. Again, Mr. Johnson explained this one when he did the first two. Are there any questions for Mr. Johnson or Randy? Again, consent decree work. It's pretty cut and dry, necessary. There are no other questions or comments. How about a motion?
Make motion.
Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 3, Brian Chetney, Youth Bureau Executive Director, requests approval for the mayor to sign an agreement between the City of Oswego and County of Oswego to reimburse the city for time spent by the Youth Activities Aid on the AmeriCorps grant program. Mr. Chetney?
This is just money from our federal grant that offsets the Youth Activities Aid's work time working with the grant. So it's revenue for 2018.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Chetney? I think we did this last year, probably the year before that, and the year before that.
20 years.
20 years? Okay, well, goes back farther than me.
Me too.
Can I have a motion?
Make motion. Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chetney. Item number 4, the engineer's office states, Northern Labor, LLC, encountered unsuitable subsurface road conditions during the milling operation of the 2017 milling and paving project and was directed by the city engineer's office to remove addition road materials for the placement of binder, which was unknown and unforeseen at the time of the bid. The contractor submitted a revised request for additional compensation to finalize the contract. The city engineer's office has reviewed the contractor's request and agrees that the additional amount of compensation should be $89,030.11. Mr. Johnson, would you like to elaborate on this one?
Yes. It's a long time paving project, and at that, I'm sorry for the delay, but moving into a paving project, you never know what you're going to find when you mill off the surface. And typically, we have had about 10% of our project in cost to make the repairs necessary to support the new surface. Now, when we mill out a road and you find gravel because a trench line wasn't repaired properly or some other unsuitable materials, we have to take it down a little bit and get some new binder in place. And so we cut out portion, box it out, and we can pave over with a new surface. Otherwise, your surface is just going to fail. You know, you're just going to drive it 1.5 inches, and that's why Cayuga Street was in such rough shape. West 8th Street as well. They both had a tremendous amount of basically just gravel. And so when it was milled out, we had a lot of extra work to restore that pavement. We verified and painted out every repair project on the street. Robert McGrath kept exceptional notes on the size of it. Our notes compared directly with the size that Rosselli came up with. Now, the reason it took so long to get back here, Dale Smith, who was the foreman on that project, he thought it was quite a bit of money, and it was, because they came in at a price at about $101,000. I think it was something a little higher than over 100. So I asked him if it's possible to go back and recalculate using a time and material. So he went back, recalculated the project using, what vehicles they used, what machines, and manpower, as well as product. Came back with a lower cost, and this $89,000 change order will be paid by the CHIPS money, and there's enough money left in the CHIPS account to cover this expense. Leading into the project, I figured about 10% of the overall cost. So this is a little bit higher by, almost 25,000, 30,000. But this work was completed. It's a legitimate claim, and I think we should move it. And incidentally, I think Rosselli came in considerably cheaper than the Barrett Paving Company in the original bid.
No. Thank you very much. Any questions, comments? Councilor?
Yeah, just one. I was just wondering, this money is going to be reimbursed through the CHIPS program, correct?
Yeah, this money is in the CHIPS, was the funding for 2017, and it's still there.
Yeah, you did a great job, Mr. Johnson. I see that you've attached 3 pages breaking down by the size of each patch.
Yeah.
10 by 12, 6 by 6. I mean, it's very detailed, so it looks like you paid attention to a lot of the details and made sure we were getting our money's worth here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Make a motion. Second.
Counsel Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 5. Eric Van Buren, Council President, states there is a vacancy on the Board of Assessment Review and would like to recommend James G. Clunin for the 5-year term. Councilor Van Buren, would you like to say something?
Recommend's a pretty strong word. I don't think we'll have to go with that, but there is a vacancy that needs to be filled, and Mr. Glynn's expressed an interest in it. No one else has shown interest in this position.
Sounds like the best candidate.
Hold it.
The only candidate.
That's the number.
Any other comments about this request? No. Motion.
Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 6, Mayor William J. Barlow, Jr. requests authorization for budget transfer and agreement to hire regarding purchasing consolidation transition. The proposal is a $75 per hour fee paid hourly, not to exceed $12,500 total. $12,500 will be reimbursed to the City of Oswego from the New York State grant money once allocated for completing the consolidation. Is there anybody here to speak? Maybe the mayor?
I'll take it, Counselor. Thank you. First, I'd like to introduce Paul. He's the gentleman in the green shirt. His resume is attached in your packet. But he was recommended from Onondaga County. He used to work there. So we're just working on building the communication and the system that'll work and connect Oswego, the City of Oswego, to Onondaga County as we work to build this process. And rather than take Mike away from his daily tasks, and I propose to use Paul, who already is familiar with Onondaga County purchasing and the folks there. His fee is $75 an hour, and we capped it at $12,500. The plan is at least to get started about 4 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week, and that'll begin once we approve this next week and take us into January until it's completed. And then we have an application into New York State for $50,000, which is what we'll be receiving from the state once we complete the consolidation. So obviously this $12,500 will be reimbursed.
Thank you, Mayor. Any comments or questions from council, public? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 7, Mayor William J. Barlow, Jr. requests consideration from the Common Council to adopt a resolution establishing energy benchmark requirements for city-owned municipal buildings.
Thank you, Counselor. See you, Paul. Thanks for coming. This is just another item involved in the clean energy and climate smart designation that we're pursuing. All this is a formal resolution allowing us to establish an energy benchmark, and we've actually, Mike Riley's already compiled all the information and provided it to the folks at New York State. And what this means, what this resolution means, is we have to keep that information, which, like I said, we have, and track it annually so we can see our energy consumption and where it ranks year to year, and we have to make that public.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions from the council? Mayor? Any other comments? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 8, Councilor Robert Corradino requests authorization for the City of Oswego to reimburse 74th residents Lauren and Sylvia Preston of 22 Garrett Street, Oswego, New York, in the amount of $3,345.30 for damage caused by J.J. Lane Construction Company while doing consent decree work, resulting in blockage of their sanitary lateral. I'm going to ask Mr. Preston, who's here, to get up and say a few words on his behalf. He can probably explain it better than I. Mr. Preston?
Yes, good evening. I'm Lauren Preston of 22 Garrett Street. Back in April, we started noticing our toilets were running a little slow, and then I noticed the brown water backing up into our basement shower stall. So I contacted Pullman Plumbing. They came over, rectified the situation. A couple weeks later, everything was backing up again. They came over, ran the snake down through, a 3-inch snake, got it to open up again. A while later, started backing up again. This time they ran their 3-inch down, didn't do any good. They tried a 1-inch snake, could not get through. So they, got it running. Then they contacted the city about it, and they said, well, I got a camera down in there to see what's going on. So got a hold of Super Rooter. They came over, they cleaned the system out again, got their camera down in there, and it was observed at that time there was a breakage in the line where the lateral had been separated so that they could lay the sewer system into Garrett Street. After that, I'd been originally advised that the city, was responsible for it by members of the city, and that they would most likely be able to take care of it. Subsequently, I was advised that this problem is mainly handled by the resident. They had to fork out the money themselves for any damages incurred, and then file a claim to the city. Great if you got the money. When you're retired and on fixed wages, it gets a little tight, and some people don't even have that kind of money. Yeah. But anyway, we hired Pullen again. They came over, they dug it down, and Mr. Johnson was there. He witnessed the fact that there was damage caused by the sewer being put in. The laterals had been cut out, and the furnicles had collapsed down, not allowing sewage to pass through. And our lateral had to run over the top of the sanitary sewer that was laid in. So we're just respectfully requesting that we be reimbursed for what we had to put out of pocket. Insurance company states that, well, we're not going to pay the city or pay you because we feel that J.J. Lane's responsible. Well, I didn't hire J.J. Lane. I pay my taxes to the city of Oswego, and I feel in good faith they will do a job, in the correct manner. And so hopefully that, this matter can be, an amicable decision by all, give a reimbursement.
All right. At this point, I know Mr. Johnson is here as well. We have nothing further to add. I'm going to ask if anybody has any questions for you, and then have Mr. Johnson give the city side of this. If you don't
Okay.
mind. Any questions or comments for Mr. Preston? Yes, Councilor.
Yeah, Mr. Preston. Did we contact J.J.
I believe, if I can defer to our city attorney, he's on the ball on that end of it. He can give you some of that.
Through the chair, yes, we did contact J.J. Lane through their insurance carrier. This is kind of these are the cases that attorneys hate because, you've got an end user that has been damaged, in this case the Prestons. You have insurance companies that are involved. That's why the city pays an insurance premium to be represented. And you have another company that the city hired, J.J. Lane, that is, I guess for intents and purposes, out of business. However, they have insurance. So our insurance carrier has contacted J.J. Lane's insurance carrier in an attempt to force the claim. Unfortunately, you've got the innocent party here, the Prestons. The city hired J.J. Lane to do the work. J.J. did it, and I think, although we haven't seen all the evidence, but I think one can infer that based on the work that was performed by J.J. Lane, there was some damage that occurred that resulted in the Prestons having further damage. So I hate to say this because it's been going on for so long, but this truly is one matter that's been tied up in the insurance companies trying to get the responsible party to pay up. I'm happy to answer any other questions, but yes, they've clearly been made aware of this, as has our insurance company. Well, again, this is where the insurance companies are. I mean, that's what we pay insurance premiums for, right? To have the insurance companies fight the claim, the issue. In this case, you've got two separate insurance companies, one representing us and one representing the contractor, J.J. Lane. And really, in my opinion, they need to try to sort this out. If they've reached complete roadblock and can't go any further, I'm not here to give specific legal advice to anyone other than the city, my client, but the claim and this is not without precedent, but the claim that the Prestons would have would be against the city of Oswego. And, you know, that's the other alternative and way it could be addressed. I am concerned, and with respect to the Prestons, I am concerned that, you know, establishing a precedent by just simply writing a check without the proper legal process having been played out could come back to haunt this council. You know, we could make an argument that in the last month of this particular Common Council 2-year cycle, that may not be an issue, but I wouldn't want to be standing here the next time saying, gee, you did it for this property owner, how come you can't do it for me? And not to rub salt in the wound, but this council has a history right now of denying a claim by a property owner that otherwise seemed legitimate, but again, the process hadn't played out, in my opinion, completely. So, you know, sometimes the attorney's work is to stand here and give you information, and in this case, the Prestons probably information that they don't want to hear. But I do think that, and I'm hopeful that the insurance companies can come to terms and make the Prestons whole, but I'm not sure that we're quite there just yet.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor. If let's assume that this passes today. If it passed and then next week it passed full council, and a month from now the insurance companies decide we'll pay the claim, it does not go to the Prestons. It comes to the city and makes us whole.
Yeah, I do think, and we've talked about this. It would be my opinion that that the city would then be made whole, because you can't, as an end user, a property owner, be compensated twice. You know, both insurance companies wouldn't pay you double what your damages are. The whole idea of insurance and a claim like this is to make one whole, to put them back in the same position they were the day before whatever happened, right? So if it costs the property owner X number of dollars, that's what they get ultimately. If it comes from the city or if it comes from an insurance company, it only comes once to the end user.
Any other questions for the counselor? Oh, one more?
How far is this in
Yeah, so nothing has been filed by way of a lawsuit by either our insurance carrier or the Prestons or anyone else. It's my understanding, and I did talk to our insurance investigators within the last 2 weeks, and they have made a request and filed a claim with the insurance carrier for J.J. Lane, but I haven't heard back that, you know, either the carrier said yes, we'll cover it, or we need to send out an investigator. And my guess is they're doing some form of due diligence to determine if their insured, J.J. Lane, is in fact responsible. But I can't, counsel, I can't give you a definite, it's going to be in the next 2 weeks. I wish I could. It could be 2 months from now. It could be more than that. It could be tomorrow. I just don't know.
Any other questions for Mr. Preston or Counselor? One of the things, there's 2 things I just want to remind the Council. Just that, number one, the sewer lateral that Mr. Preston has, it's brand new. I mean, in sewer terms, it's brand new. I mean, it's 20 years old. We've got sections of the community that are over 100 years old that have sewers that are 100 years old. This house was built in 98?
95.
95, okay. So it's about 22 years old. Number one, it's relatively new, and number 2, there was work done, and I think Mr. Johnson can explain exactly how that work contributed to the value of the lateral. So if we have nothing further to add, I'd like to have Mr. Johnson come up.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Preston called me, and I explained to him our procedure, which typically is, our standard procedure is that the homeowner needs to dig this up and verify what caused this lateral to be broken. And if it's our responsibility, we typically take a look at it at that point. So I went up, they had it exposed, they had the sewer lateral exposed, and it was cut, intentionally cut on both sides to put storm sewer up the street. The storm sewer that J.J. Lane installed was lower than the sanitary lateral by quite a bit, and it was a large sewer. So they just literally cut his sanitary sewer. He had a cast iron sewer in, and they replaced it with a piece of PVC with a rubber fern coat at each end. Well, when they dug that up, I could see that the plastic pipe had actually lowered and sank down from the pressure of the fill, or maybe the tamping process. Some way is certainly related to that project. But I told Mr. Preston, I said, you need to file a claim. I took pictures. I have pictures. I don't know if they ever got in your packet, but I do have pictures, close-up pictures of this lateral. And it was also a year after the contract had been closed out with J.J. Lane, which might be part of the reason they're having trouble with the insurance. I don't know. But I do know that the cast iron lateral wasn't going to break on its own. It was broken due to our project. And so I feel as though it's our contractor that did it, and if you can't make that contractor pay for it or get their contractor's insurance to pay for it, I still don't see how Mr. Preston is responsible to fix his own sewer that he didn't break. And,
All right, well, thank you very much for giving us the detailed part of this scenario. Any questions for Mr. Johnson at this point? Yes, question from the floor.
Not so much a question for Robert, but you know, the contractor damaged his property, basically the city property, and the contract is between the city and J.J. Lane. If insurance companies tend to stall, like it is a known fact, and it could take a year before they decide, okay, we're going to either approve or deny this thing. Through no fault of his and no fault of the city, this has occurred. So I personally want to go over and say, I think it would be a gross injustice if the city doesn't step in and do the reimbursement, because if the insurance does settle, it'll come back to the city. And I realize that this is establishing a precedent that was not wanted to do in the past. And I think this is a case where the precedent is fair. It will not be his fault, and he shouldn't have to wait around for a month or even 6 months or a year to get reimbursed for money he's already spent out. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I concur.
Another voice heard.
I have spoken.
As Mr. Johnson pointed out, it wasn't the 22-year-old cast iron that failed. It was the little splice of the PVC. And it was obvious where it happened. So, any questions, comments, concerns? This is the time to bring them up. Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Second.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Do we need a resolution?
I'll take care of that. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Preston. Item number 9. Fire Chief Randall B. Griffin is requesting an interdepartmental transfer in the amount of $5,195 to cover vehicle repairs that were incorrectly billed by JPB Fire Sale, LLC, and to purchase new tires for the ladder truck and heavy rescue vehicle. Chief?
Yes, so asking for this budget transfer, as stated, to JPB is one of the contractors that we use for vehicle maintenance. They're actually the only one that comes to the city to repair the apparatus. We don't have to send it out. So they do a good job in that respect. The issue has been, and as was pointed out by Deb, this is the second year in a row that this has happened. I've been assured by the owner of the company that they've apparently hired an outside firm, an accounting firm, to do a better job at this. The issue becomes, within the last week or so, we got bills back from May for maintenance that we weren't anticipating getting. So that's why we're asking for this, as well as other repairs. As was noted in the budget hearing, we talked about vehicle maintenance. We still have a few heavy vehicles that have not been able to be inspected. It's not that we don't want to. It's not because the DPW can't schedule them. It's because they won't pass inspection. So we need to wait until 2018 when we have the funds to do those repairs. So the rest of the money would go for new tires as we enter the winter season and snow. We're expecting a little bit this week that we can get through that snow with the new tires. So.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, statements? Nothing from the council? Anything from the public? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
Item number 10, Mark Tesorario, City Clerk, is requesting a transfer of funds from within the City Clerk's office in the amount of $3,000 in order to purchase new shelving units for the Records Department. I don't see Mr. Tesorario here, but I do see Tress McDade from the Clerk's office.
I'll cover.
Somebody else wants
I'll
to.
cover Trust. We're working on better organizing our records, and obviously, room's tight in the basement and in the clerk's office. So Mark asked to get some of these archive box shelves to place some files and organize those files appropriately.
Okay. Cut and dry. Any other comments? Questions? Oh, one in the back row here.
Well, this is a new way of thing of putting everything on microfiche or DDD or whatever they call it. Okay? Even the library where I am, they got things on record like that, and we got paper records here. Come on, bring it up to date, Billy.
Miles, we do both, but the state actually says we have to keep hard copy. I know. Tell me about it.
Well, if you run for governor, maybe that'll change. Any other comments, concerns? Seeing none, can I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.
We need a resolution.
We need a resolution. I'm sure that, yes, the city clerk's office will volunteer that one. I believe that's the last item on the agenda. Are there anything else, any old business or anything you want to talk about in this committee? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close out?
Make a motion.
Counselor Corradino.
Yes.
Counselor Van Buren.
Yes.
Counselor Reynolds.
Yes.
Counselor Walker. Counselor Emmons.
Yes.